Welcome to the virtual office hours. My name is John Fia. I teach history here at Messiah College and I chair the history department. Megan Piet, as always, behind the camera, of course. We have the founding fathers with us. We have a special guest who we'll get to in a second. But we are still focused on our spring 2015 series called Messiah College, a new kind of history department. And we are focusing on faculty and students and administrators here at Messiah, thinking about how to prepare students for the 21st century as history majors, playing off of, if you go back to our first episode in this series, the American Scholar essay by Grafton and Grossman, which promoted our department, albeit very briefly, but mentioned us. So we're building off of that. And what are we up to here in the history department? In our last episode, you actually heard, for our last two episodes, you actually heard from Dr. David Pettigrew, who is doing working in our digital history and digital humanities project. And today, our special guest is Rachel Carey. Rachel is a senior history major at Messiah. She is here because she is the heart and soul, in some ways, of the Digital Harrisburg project, works in the department as a work study student, and just is an all-around jack of all trades here in the Department of History. And we're going to talk to her a little bit about her role at Messiah as a history student, and specifically digital humanities. So welcome to the office hours.
Yeah.
Rachel says she's seen the office hours before, so she knows what to expect. So Rachel, let's start off. How'd you end up at Messiah, and how'd you end up majoring in history at Messiah, and what's it been like so far?
I always knew I wanted to study history for as long as I can remember. And the summer before my senior year of high school, I came to visit Messiah and fell in love with it.
Good.
I received personal correspondence from faculty, and I knew that even before I was a student, if they were that invested in me,
Sure.
they would be invested in me as I continued.
Yeah.
It's been great being here. I'm in my third year, and I've had so many incredible opportunities. I've been a work study, which has been wonderful.
Yeah.
I get to do everything from...
She works for me, folks. Yeah, go ahead.
I get to do everything from copying to working on research projects. And then I've also worked with Dr. Pettigrew now for a year, and so it's been
Good.
great.
So it's been a great experience.
Yeah.
Now, you have really gotten plugged into the Digital Harrisburg project. How, before you get into I'll not ask you about what you do on the project in a second, but how did you get connected with this? And we know a little bit about what it is from having Dr. Pettigrew on the last episode, but how did you get linked or hooked up with it?
Okay. I started this project when I took Dr. Pettigrew's class, the Digital History, I think it was called.
That's right. Yeah.
And one of the projects we did in the class was called City Social, and that has since become the Census Project.
Yeah. And
I actually was one of few students who really enjoyed this project, and I'll get into how it all works later.
Yeah.
But Dr. Pettigrew had asked in class if anyone was interested in continuing the work, and I jumped at the opportunity to keep working on it.
Good. Now, you are also a fellow in the Center for Public Humanities here at Messiah, which we've learned a little bit about, I think, in previous episodes. Tell us about that.
Through that, I continue to work for the center and focus on the Digital Harrisburg project. We promote it throughout Harrisburg.
Okay.
We're starting to do these things called memory harvests, which I'm sure Dr. Pettigrew talked about.
Yeah.
And that's been really wonderful to have community involvement in the project.
Good. Now, what do you do for the Digital Harrisburg project? What are some things you have done? What are you currently working on? Give us some nuts and bolts. Like, what is this about? Pettigrew talked a little bit about it last time, but what is your role in it all? Okay.
I am what Dr. Pettigrew likes to call the data master.
I like that, yeah.
It's my unofficial title.
Yeah. Get that across, the data master.
So what I do is I go into Ancestry.com, which is where all of the census records are housed.
Yeah. And
we use the information that Ancestry has taken from the census records.
Yeah.
They take basic information like name, where the family is from.
Yeah.
And we take that, we put in our own information that we want. So I take that, I put it into a spreadsheet, and then I add in information like house address, street address, what their job is, whether they're literate, and all of the information that we think is interesting to know. And I go through, do that, then we do quality checks and everything. It's quite a lengthy process.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So over the summer, it was last semester. Last semester I finished Harrisburg 1900 census, which was 50,029 people.
Wow.
And then over Christmas break, I finished Steelton, which was 13,000 people. And now I've moved on. I did 1910 briefly, but we're not really sure where we're going to be going from here quite yet.
And then what is, real quickly, what is the, how does that then help the larger project, what you're doing, your nuts and bolts stuff? How's that connected to, what have you done, what are you doing with the data, that you're collecting? Or what are the plans? Yeah.
We take the data that I enter and we put it into this thing called ArcGIS, which Dr. Pettigrew will have talked about. And through this, we can map the city of Harrisburg from 1900. So you go into the map, and it is live now. So you go into the map, you click on a house, and the census information for that house pops up.
So it really, a lot of the digital work of the digital Harrisburg project, as I would guess would be the case with any digital project, is a lot of particular kind of, maybe tedious is that a fair word?
That is a fair word.
Sort of tedious, but you put it much more politely. Your word was hard or something. But yeah, you have to do that kind of work in order to make then larger interpretations of it. So in some ways, the people who are going to use this as a way to interpret the city of Harrisburg really are resting on your shoulders as someone who's done a lot of the sort of grunt work, right, to get this done. So that's, again, this is just one of many opportunities that our students have here in the history department at Messiah. Rachel has seized the day on this. She's really taken advantage of these opportunities. And it's a great way for us to, again, as Rachel said, to sort of engage our community around us through history. And that's something that I think is really kind of making us unique here in the history department at Messiah College. So thanks for sharing with us today, Rachel. Thanks for coming on the program. And we will see you next time on the virtual office hours. Have a great day.